Hi guys, it's Night Fear, and I'm coming on real quick to do my wrap up for the Borrow-a-thon. And I actually completed all 6 challenges and read 6 different books. Now, a couple of them were not the books that I originally chose, but I'll explain why I read different books. So, the very first challenge was to pick and read an award-winning book. Oh yes, and for the Borrow-a-thon, all of these had to be borrowed books, either from the library or from somebody else. I borrowed all mine from the library, and some of them were ebooks, some of them were audiobook, and some of them were actual books. So the first one was to pick an award winner, and this book actually won the what was it? The Bram Stoker Award in 2002. And that was Coraline by Neil Gaiman. And this is actually what the cover of the book looked like. I actually read this in physical copy, but I already returned it to the library because I wanted to get more books and I was already done. So, yeah. This book, when I talked about reading this book, a lot of people said it was scarier than the movie, that it was really creepy, that I was really going to enjoy it. And so I got really, really hyped to read this book. Yeah. To me, it wasn't scary at all. I think that the cartoon was a lot creepier. And I was really, really, really disappointed. I think maybe it would have been a lot more enjoyable if I hadn't have expected it to be creepy, because it just wasn't, and I did not enjoy it, and I gave it a 3. And for those of you that don't know, it's about a little girl. Her name is Coraline, and she moves into this townhouse on the middle floor. She has an old man living above her and 2 older women living below her, and she lives in the middle with her parents, and she gets bored real easy, and so she's real active, and she always wants to explore, and she wants her parents to spend time with her, and her parents don't spend time with her, and she ends up finding this door. And basically the book is about her finding this door and what's behind the door. So yeah, kind of disappointing. Still love Neil Gaiman though, still going to read some more of his books, but this one is just not one that I will ever reread. Excuse me. Okay, the next one is to read a book with initials on the cover. And this one I chose War Z by Max Brooks. And my last name, it starts with a Z, and then my first name, of course, is Melissa, so that would be an M, so that was MZ. Somebody actually recommended that I read this on audiobook. I usually do not like audiobooks, but I read it that way anyway, and really, really, really enjoyed it. And basically, the premise of this one is like the war happened, and so it's told like a journalist would, or not a journalist, yeah, I guess it would be a journalist, went around and interviewed people that had stuff to do with the war, and how it affected them, and what they did, and what they saw, and things like that. So it was really interesting. But I do have a tip. If you do get the audiobook, there are 2 versions. The first version doesn't have the whole book. I started listening to it, and I was kind of listening to it and going through, and it skipped. See, like, it has sections. Like, this is, the Antarctica Park. So it would skip this whole entire section. And it did that a couple times, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't want to do that. So I started doing a little research, and I found another version, and it actually says it's the movie version, but it's not the movie. It just, I don't know why they call it that, but it has the whole book. Except for, I think it skips one little bitty section in the very, very end. At least that's all I found that it skipped. So, but I listened to that, and I liked the cast, and it was, different people. It wasn't the same person reading. And it was really, really good. And it actually had one of the people reading it was Alan Alda, which I thought was really pretty cool. So, yes, I would highly recommend this. And I gave it a 4. So, yeah, World War Z. Okay, the next one is... Okay, I'm going to have to do 2 together because I took one of the books back, and these are in a series. The one that I read first was someone else's favorite, and that's The Selection, and the cover actually looks like this, okay? And what The Selection was about, well, I guess I could do it this way, I don't have to skip. So The Selection was about, and this is, guys, it's YA. It is, I mean, it is totally YA. It is just, I can't describe it any other way. But it was one of those books, I started it, and actually both of these. I started it, and I couldn't put it down. I finished it in one day. I think I stayed up till like 2 o'clock to finish this one. And I think 1 o'clock or something to finish this one, because I wanted to get it. I had to find out what happened. But it wasn't like suspenseful. It was just one of those, you just cared about the characters and you just wanted to see what happened. So anyway, it's about this girl named America. And she is living in this country called Illia. I think that's how you'd pronounce it. It's Illea. And the interesting thing about this country is that they live in a caste system. And it's by number. So you have the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, and 8s. So the 1s is the prince and his family. You know, they're the 1s, the elite, the top. And the 8s are like the homeless people, the ones that have been cast out of society. And then, you know, you're kind of somewhere depending on what you are. Now, America and her family are artists and singers and things like that. And they are 5s. That's where they are. They're 5s. So 5s are kind of like the poor middle class of our country. You know, it's just like you survive paycheck to paycheck. You're really lucky you survive sometimes. Sometimes it's not so great. You know, that kind. That's her family. So what happens in this country is that when the prince gets old enough, they have what they call the selection to choose his bride. And they bring 35 girls from all around the country. And they are supposedly chosen at random. Yeah, but whatever. And so they bring 35 girls to the palace. And basically it's like a contest. And they do film it. And so it's kind of like, I mean, what would I compare it to? Maybe to The Bachelor, kind of, but without the roses. But anyway, so America is, I can't remember how old she is, 16, I think. And she is actually in love with Aspen, and he's a 6. And see, because she's a 5, the chances of her father ever approving of a 6, because that would be her marrying down, is very small. And so they end up getting in a fight. He's pushed her to enter the selection because she actually got a letter stating that she's eligible for the selection. Her mother was pushing for her to join, and she didn't really want to because of Aspen, and then she ends up doing it, and she ends up going to the palace. And so the first book, The Selection, which is this one, she's fighting with herself. You know, do I really love Aspen? Am I attracted to Prince? You know, it's all this inner stuff. Plus, it's all the struggles with the other girls, and some of them are very mean. So you kind of got the mean girl aspect, but it's just, it's so good. So good. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I gave it a 4. Because I couldn't give it a 5, because it's, you know, it's YA, and it was good, but it wasn't like, kind of good. But anyway, but yes, I definitely definitely recommend The Selection. And it was actually recommended, like I had said in my original TBR video, it was recommended to me by the missionaries, our sister missionaries here. They had read it and said it was really, really good, and then I should read it. So I did, and I loved it. Okay, the next one is Something everyone has read but me. Now, originally I was going to do 13 Reasons Why. I did start 13 Reasons Why, but I had, right as this began, I had read Illuminae. I finished Illuminae right at the beginning of the readathon, and I had to read Gemina next, and then we got Obsidio, and as you can see, it's due the 31st, and so we had to get it back, and Kaylin wanted to read these first, or two. See, if you can see, this is where Kaylin is right now. So she's almost finished, and we have to return it tomorrow. So I stole it from her so I can make this video. But anyway, so I'm counting the 3 of these books. So it's kind of like a 3-in-1. But because I needed to read this, so Kaylin could read it, so we could both read it and get it done. And because I just had to, I mean, after I finished Illuminae, I just had to read Gemina, and then, of course, had to read Obsidio. I think Gemina's the best, for me. I think Gemina's the best, Illuminae's the second, and then Obsidio. I didn't like Obsidio as much as I liked the other two, but it was still good. So, for those of you that do not know what these are about, I made notes, guys, because my brain is, and I've read so much this month. Right now I'm on 15. I've read 15 books, and I'll probably end up by the end of the month reading 16 or 17. And yes, I know that tomorrow is the end of the month, but I'm almost done with Scarlet, and I really want to finish the last of the selection books, the third one. So, yes. So, I'll probably have read either 16 or 17 books this month. And, yeah. And like I said, you know, me and I like my big books. So, yeah. Okay. So, anyway, back to back to the Illuminae files, which is what the 3 books together are called, is the Illuminae files. Okay. Illuminae starts out with Katie and Ezra. And they are teenagers, and they live on this planet called Corenza. Now, please excuse me if I'm not pronouncing these names like they're supposed to be. I'm pronouncing the way I hear them in my head. So please excuse for anything that I mispronounce. But anyway, so Katie has just broken up with Ezra, and she's been dating him for quite a while. And so they're in the same classroom. And all of a sudden, they hear noises outside. And the planet that they're on, it's an illegal mining operation, okay? It's a kind of like an ice planet type thing. And they're mining, and I didn't write what they're mining for. Oh, I can't remember the name of what it's called. Anyway, what they're mining for, basically, it powers their ships, their spaceships. Because this is, yes, it's kind of a lovely sci-fi books, which I don't read that often, but I'm going to start reading them now after these. But anyway, so this rival corporation is attacking the planet, and Ezra and Katie end up together, and they escape, okay? And so they're on 2 different ships. And then there's 3 ships altogether that end up escaping the planet. The Alexander is a big ship from the... And see, I didn't write that down either. But anyway, basically, the people that are in charge, the people that keep everything together, the Alexander is from them. And just so happened, it was in the area and heard the distress calls. And so it came to help. It destroyed a couple of the Bitech, which I hope that's right, how you pronounce that. But anyway, they're the quote-unquote bad guys in these books. So it ends up blowing, or crippling one, really heavily damaging one, and sort of damaging another ship, so that they can get away. And so it's 3 ships. It's the Alexander, the Copernicus, and the Hypatia. It's Hypatia, however you pronounce that. Anyway, those 3 ships end up escaping. And the Alexander has an AI aboard, and it's basically, you know, the ship, and his name is Aiden. throughout the books, you end up loving and hating Aiden all in one. He's, I don't know. He does very bad things, but he does very bad things for very good reasons. So anyway, so basically the book is about them trying to get away from the Lincoln, which is the last ship, and that ship actually ends up chasing them, and they're trying to get to the Hemidal, which is the spaceport on the other side of the wormhole. Yes, guys, this book, like I said, sci-fi, okay? And so basically it's the story of Katie and Ezra and how their relationship is what it's about, and them escaping. Okay, so that's Illuminae, and it is awesome. It is so good, and you actually end up somewhere in there. Okay, I'm gonna call them space zombies. They're not really zombies, but that's kind of what they remind me of. So you end up with space zombies, and like towards the middle end of the book. And you just, I mean, there's a lot of action. It's just, oh, it's so good. Okay, and I'm not going to do spoilers, so that's, you know. So Gemina is the Hemidal story. So while all this is taking place on Corinza, and while Katie and Ezra are on their way to Hemidal, or Hemidal, whatever it is, the space station at the wormhole, Gemina takes place actually at the station, and with the main characters in this one are Hannah, Nick, and Ella. Hannah is the station's, like the captain of the station, his daughter. Nick and Ella are cousins, and they are part of a gangster, which is the Hand of the Knife. I think that's what they're called. HOK, yes, Hand of Knife. And they end up getting together because the Hemidal ends up getting attacked by Bitech. Because, of course, they don't want anybody to, you know, anybody to be witness. They want to make sure they cover all their bases, and they don't want anybody to escape. So basically, it's about the attack on the station and what Hannah, Nick, and Ella do to prevent that. And you get flashes of what's going on at, you know, from the people coming across from Corinza. Now, people that have already read this are going, yeah, that's kind of right, but not. I'm trying not to do any spoilers, people. So, no spoilers, because I don't believe in spoilers. So, anyway, so that's Gemina. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And it's some cool stuff about the wormhole. And the twists, oh my gosh, in both of them, in Illumina and Gemina, the twist, it's like, really? I didn't see them coming at all, and I really like this one the best. Then Obsidio, okay, and basically, oh, and I forgot to tell you the coolest part. This is told in, it's not a story, it's told in, it's like they're looking at the feed, the footage, the surveillance footage, and it's told by somebody, you know, looking at the footage and telling you what's going on. And the black pages are usually Aiden. Usually. And then you have all kinds of different, you know, this is the, like emails back and forth. And some of them are like communications back and forth. And the pages, once you get, Hannah draws. So you get parts of her, her journal. And so you just get all this different stuff, and it's really awesome. And so you get that kind of text, and just, you know, different stuff. I mean, it's amazing the way it's told. I really enjoyed it because it was different. Okay. And then Obsidio starts, the very beginning is, well, actually Gemina does too, the trial of Bitech. And then Obsidio starts with the continuation of the trial. And the files you're getting on this one are back at Corinza. And you're following Asha, who is Katie's cousin, and Rias Lindstrom. Okay. and their story. And he is actually a biotech soldier. So you get their story, and basically the people that were left, okay, the Lincoln left, and he left the 2 ships, biotech ships. One of them is functional, and one of them is not really functional at all. And the one that's functional, they're trying to get, because they have a wormhole, or I can't remember what they call it, but basically it makes its own wormhole so it can travel through space that way. And they're trying to have the miners mine all the stuff that they can, so they can, once they fix their ship, that they have enough fuel to get going. So, what?
Are you done with Obsidian?
No, I'm talking about it right now. I'm telling the people about Obsidian right now. So that's what this one is about. And you also get glimpses from the survivors of the station and the original survivors of Carenza.
This one's not as good at this one, and it's not as good.
Which one did you like better?
Illuminate.
See, she liked Illuminate better. I like Gemina the best. So yes. So you would recommend these, Kaylin Jean?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, guys, look. She's not in a cast anymore. She's in backups because I can't get back up. She's in a boot. Look, see. She's in a boot.
This foot is now bigger than this
Yes,
foot.
and she can walk without her crutches. So, yes. Okay. Anyway, yeah, this video is getting long. Alright, so that's Obsidio and Gemina. I gave Gemina, let's see, I gave Illuminate a 4. I gave Gemina a 5 and Obsidio a 4. So, read.
What did you give Obsidio?
Obsidio a 4. Because they were good, but they had, I don't know. Anyway, so that's Gemina.
I'd say it was a 3.
Okay, so the favorite genre, I like fantasy the best. So originally I was going to read Carve the Mark. I'm still going to read Carve the Mark, but I was running out of time, and I had already gotten this one from the library. And as you can see, it's a shorter book. I think it was like 300 pages, or right around, something like that. It was 323 pages. So I knew I could finish this one because I really wanted to get through all these. So I read this one instead of Carve the Mark. And basically this one is, he started out with 35. And this one is after he eliminates everybody but 6. And it's still her trying to figure out if she was still in love with Aspen or if she's in love with Maxon. And then some other things happen, and you know, you got some political stuff, and of course the girls are still at each other, and it's just, it's so good, and I can't wait. The next one is called The One, and I'm going to be reading that one as soon as I finish Scarlet, which is part of the Lunar Chronicles, which I'm also loving, and I really need to stop reading series until I finish the ones I've got. But, you know, so many books, so little time. But anyway, yes, the selection in the Elite by Kier Cass was awesome. And you know what? I haven't been telling you who these people are by. Illuminate, Gemina, and Obsidio is by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So, careful, Christopher. Okay, and I gave the Elite a 4. Because once again, YA, you know, fluffy. I just couldn't give it a 5. Okay. So the very last one was a book featuring a library. I read The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. This book. When I read the description, I had really high hopes. I thought I was going to really love this book. The description is nothing like what it actually is. What it actually is, it's about this group. There are 12 of them. And they each have a particular... there are 12 parts in the library. Okay, we'll put it that way. And so each part has a person. Like one part is medicine. I'm trying to keep... one part is medicine. One part is... what do I want to say? One part's medicine. One part is like war. Let's tip this so it'll... There. Stay. One part is languages. There's death. There's talking to animals and doing the whole animal thing, and I can't remember the other. I don't think we ever really go into all the parts. But anyway, so it starts out, and you're with this girl, Carolyn, and her thing is languages, and it kind of goes back and forth into the past a little, showing parts of her old life, and then it comes forward, and you're very confused, and their father, quote, quote, who is in charge of the library, has gone missing, and so they're trying to figure out what's happened to him, and it's very confusing. And then you bring in this normal human person named Steve, and then there's this guy named Irwin, who is a combat guy, who everybody, when they find out who he is, they're in shock and want to get his autograph. And then he has a part to it, and it's like, why in the world did you... I don't know. I gave it a 3. I just did not like this book. And I kept reading it. I did finish it. And I didn't like Carolyn. She was just... I mean, I guess it's the point of what... Because she lost something to become who she ends up being at the end of the book. And I guess that's kind of part of the story. But it just... It didn't click with me, and I honestly just didn't care for it. If any of you guys have read this one and liked it, let me know, and maybe you can explain to me what I'm missing, or even if you didn't like it and agree with me, let me know that too. And like I said, I was so disappointed, because when I read this, I was so excited about, about reading it, and about what it was going to be about. And this actually... All my books this month have been 4s and 5s, except for Coraline, which I gave a 3, and this one, which I gave a 3. So it's actually been a really good reading month. But anyway, so I love the Borrow-a-thon. I think this was round 4, I believe, and I think they're having some more. I think if I remember right, if this was, I watched so many videos, but if I remember right, I think they were talking about having another round in November. So I'm going to be watching, and watching for that. And the lady who started this is RM Fic-Fac. And I have that linked in my TBR video for this. And so, yeah. So all in all, I really enjoyed it. I really loved all the books. Like I said, Coraline, I think I would have liked more if I hadn't have hyped myself. This one, nobody suggested it. I was just trying to find a library one and found it myself. And just, yeah. I don't know. So sad. But anyway, so that's all the books that I read for the Borrow-a-thon. All 6 challenges. I'm so excited that I actually completed a read-a-thon complete. And so I'm going to be doing a couple more readathons. Even though I probably shouldn't, because I end up reading other books, and yeah. Because I still have a stack of library books. This stack right here and right here are my library books I still have to read. Yeah, so. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and let me know down below if you've read any of these books, enjoyed any of these books, have any recommendations for me, what you've gotten at your library lately. And I will see you next time. And remember, be kind to each other.